We suffer from one fact that there is so much talk about sovereignty, but you find either we don't qualify to have these sovereign rights. Every other person across the world wants to decide either for Rwanda or decide for Africa.
The USA or America will not forgive Paul Kagame for exposing how they do their business in Africa. In this video, I'm going to react. Paul Kagame was speaking how USA exploit Africa. How USA does not do equality things in Africa, because if they do that, all countries will benefit. But because they have their own ways, it's only one-sided. Let's watch this video and then we react on it.
Somebody should find that associating with Africa is beneficial. And for example, Africa and the United States, if they worked together, it would benefit both Africa and the United States than when you have Africa dealing with individual countries or ignoring them altogether. But for small countries like Rwanda, it's very difficult if you look at Rwanda as a small country in isolation and not in the context of the continent. So it is difficult to maintain a predictable, consistent relationship as Rwanda and the United States. Because within the United States, I'll give you quickly an example affecting Rwanda already. You know, we used to be eligible to AGOA, African Growth Opportunity Act. And then when Rwanda wanted to grow its textile industries, and therefore reduced on the flow of used clothes into Rwanda, some lobbyists, people who are benefiting in the United States from this trade, and by the way, the used clothes, most of it would come from China. And they were selling it to Africa, and they have been doing that, and they were selling those clothes to Rwanda. And when we wanted to grow industries, so the lobbyists who were benefiting from this used clothes trade actually influenced the powers that be in the United States to strike off AGOA Rwanda, so that we came under punishment for just doing that, for wanting to grow economy. So you can see a small country trying to grow its economy, its industries, and has to deal with this situation, then there is a backlash, and we have suffered for that. Of course, there are exemptions. In the past, we have seen PEPFAR that we benefited from greatly, and that's how Rwanda built its health systems. And even that helped us to actually deal with the current pandemic because we established those strong systems, and we were using support from the United States. So, but at the same time, United States also, and that affects Rwanda, is one of the two countries in the whole world that refused to use, say, the terminology that was agreed by everybody in the United Nations, referring to the tragic events that happened in our country as genocide against the Tutsis. And we have never understood why, because we even entered into arguments and said, well, if you are talking about the Holocaust, you are talking about the Holocaust of the Jews. You are not talking about everybody who died during that period when the Jews were being killed under the Holocaust. So, but for some reasons which they have not even explained, they prefer to say, no, yeah, some other people died. We went into arguments, but United States comes out, imagine powerful United States as it is, and is arguing on this non-issue that has been sorted out at the UN. We cannot understand what is behind it or who benefits from it. So this creates an atmosphere of unpredictability, and that's how it becomes difficult for Rwanda, therefore, to predict what is going to happen going forward in terms of relationship. We suffer from one fact that there is so much talk about sovereignty, but you find either we don't qualify to have these sovereign rights. Every other person across the world wants to decide either for Rwanda or decide for Africa. And therefore, the best thing is to let Africa and Rwanda be partners with developed countries, powerful countries, and Rwanda or Africa therefore decide on what we want for ourselves going forward. For example, and we are just reminded by this pandemic, when you find that countries are suffering because they do not have health systems built in a manner that will serve them when such a pandemic strikes, therefore, that means we need to build our health systems. We need to look at climate change that affects us. We need to look at growing our industries. And United States has a lot to offer in these areas to make Rwanda and Africa be able to stand on their own and strong as partners of the United States. So this is what we would ask any government, any administration of the United States. And I think it has been there for decades as we know it.
Welcome back. I love the fact how Paul Kagame usually say it as it is. He doesn't sugarcoat, and he's a good leader. I love him. On this video, he was talking about how USA or how America abuse Africa. And for me, I call it exploitation. It's the same thing as exploitation, where if these two countries can do good business, can do business with equality, can do business with not one side being, pretending to be in power, then both countries could benefit. African country could benefit, European country could benefit. Because at the end of the day, they want the resources. We want what we want from them: technology, artilleries, name it, science, what. So it's the matter of doing business between the two countries. It matters a lot. For example, I was saying this. This is like a grocery store. Chinese come to Africa. Germans come to Africa. Portuguese come to Africa, to a country, maybe Burkina Faso. They come and to get gold in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso ask for this kind of money, or they ask for technology, or they ask for this. And we do that. We exchange. All countries have benefited. But because most of the West countries are exploiting Africa, or they want to benefit from Africa without benefiting the Africans, that's where problem starts. That's where you find a lot of countries are in poverty, and yet it has a lot of resources. It has helped a lot of countries out here. So Paul Kagame just say it direct. He said it direct that America have done this and this. Because if they could do like this, we as Rwanda, we could be somewhere. But because they are exploiting Africa, because they want to get what they want to get without proper, that's where problem starts. So I'm looking forward, by the way, to see leaders who boldly speak out, to see leaders who condemn atrocities done by the whites, by the colonizers, by the oppressors. I don't look forward to see presidents that they support everything done by the West power, for example. So Paul Kagame, there's a number of times that he has speak boldly. For example, there's a video he spoke on France president. There's a time he just said to the face of corrupt African leaders, like, you don't have to do like this. So we are looking forward for leaders like this to change how people view Africa. And most of the West countries, they are doing this to us because we Africans, we are not united. Because a country like Uganda and Tanzania does not speak one language. They can't come together and be strong. And that's what happened during colonization, where people from my country were hearing news that there is some white people in a certain country in Rwanda or Uganda, but they couldn't do anything. They could just keep quiet and wait for their time to come, instead of uniting and asking the neighbor, what's going on? Can we help you? You know? But we, as nowadays youths and leaders, we need to make them realize that we have realized ourselves. Because the best thing we'll do for ourselves is to realize ourselves. The best thing to do as a man is for you to realize who you are, to know who you are. But most of African presidents, we don't know who we are. All we just know is just the white people are controlling us. That's all we know. And that's why we put leaders who does not have the interest of the people at their heart. We put leaders in power who does not know what to do the best for the people. We put leaders who are just going there to be the puppets of the white people, the puppets of the West countries. It's high time that we think how to make life better. And I'm trying to say that there is a clip where Macron, the president of France, was laughing at Burkina Faso president back then, former president of Burkina Faso. Because when the president, the people are complaining there's no light, and Macron came and said that you are crying no light as if it's my work. I'm no longer your colonizer leader. That ask your president is the one to give you light. The president walked away, if I can remember that video well, but the president Macron had a point, and even the president who walked away, no, he had a point. Macron had a point because we cannot hold white people accountable for what we are going through. Yes, the white people are the cause, but we as black people, we as Africans, we are the main cause of our downfall, because we are the one who accept to be used. We are the one who accept to be given brown envelopes so as to do some things back. We are the one who are voting bad people in power. We are the one who are choosing purpose. We are the one who we don't accept our countries. We don't accept Africa. We don't know what is the best for us, because every time we get a chance to put a leader, we put a leader who does not have your interest. So whenever we lack lights, whenever we don't have water, whenever we have water crisis, we cannot blame the white people. For example, the water crisis in Ghana, we cannot blame the white people. We will blame the administration of Ghana, because administration of Ghana have decided to give license to companies that are maybe white companies, because they have been given something small, and because most of African leaders live for something small, they will not talk. They'll just go on and do what the whites want. So if these West countries, America, name it France, if they could do things in equality, all of these countries could go forward, both of them. They could thrive. Nigeria, Ghana, these are the countries that they control oil in Africa. But because of poor governance, because of fake unions like African Unions, AU, these countries are going on into poverty. And this poverty is brought by our own people. And our own people are being helped by the oppressors. And they really know very well oppressors are not good for us. So I will wish to say this. Most of the whites, white supremacy, or the oppressors or the colonizers, most of them, they are not your friends. They are only your friend when they want to get something from you. And we call it a plastic smile. They're going to smile. Hey, you have good country here. A country with good landscape. And you as the president of South Africa, no, you as the president of a country in Africa, you just say, hey, yeah, thank you, shaking hands. And you don't know that he is targeting something from you. Fungua. So I wish to tell every African that we need to fight for our countries. We need to know that sometimes all smiles is not real smile. For example, they're going to come here, they smile for you, you give out your resources, you give out your piece of land, you give out your land, they dig the resources, but they are not doing fair business with us. So that's what we think. So thank you, Paul Kagame, for standing out, even though you have exposed the secrets how they do these things. But all in all, you are a good leader, and we are looking more for good leaders. I know sometimes maybe I see you and I see like you have been there in power for many years. Rwanda is not going forward, but Rwanda is changing because of you. I don't know what you think about Paul Kagame, about this topic, about this message of Paul Kagame. Tell me in the comment section what you think. Until next episode, peace be with you.